Janet, thanks for joining in.
Awesome.
Also, guys, yes, also thanks for joining in to our community members for our special episode, which is the 25th episode of Plena Connect and Web3 UX with Friends. Today, we've got a special guest, Junaid, who's the head of marketing at Dojima Network. Would be great, Junaid, to get a brief intro about yourself, how you got started in the Web3 space, and then followed by a little bit about Dojima Network, what you guys are building, and what are the plans ahead.
Sure thing. That'll be fantastic. Well, I think I've already been introduced. I'm Jeanette Merchant. I work at Dojima. I head the marketing team. Personally speaking, I have around 20 years of marketing experience across three different countries. And coming to Dojima has been one of the interesting moves that I made in my career because, as you know, you've got to live up to the Jones and move with the times. Web3 is the next phase of the internet as we know it, and that's one of the reasons that I've taken on this as a new challenge and a new opportunity to work with them. And I've been working with Dojima for the past year and a little above a year. It's been a very interesting journey. We have a fantastic team that is backing the entire initiative. So that's a little bit about us. And well, if you've not known about what Dojima Network is doing, I'll just shed a little bit light on there. We are creating an omni-chain layer between all chains. By connecting all of them, by pooling the assets and the data, which will be helpful in the expansion efforts of the entire Web3 ecosystem in the near future, and other companies as well as applications and developers. They would be able to easily deploy and use complex cross-chain applications across the board on different chains without any hassle. We are providing a middle ground which is created on an EVM chain with a cross-chain consensus, further increasing the appeal to more than about 80% of the Web3 developers because it's one of the most used chains at this point of time. However, there are multiple chains in existence as well. We're trying to bring it all together so all the realities come together as well.
Awesome. Thanks for that brief intro, Junaid. And also, guys, we've got Amity, of course, our community manager, who'll be our host for today. Thanks for joining in, Amity, for yet another episode.
Very much. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So Jenna, thank you for such a wonderful intro about yourself, and thank you for giving us a detailed explanation about what Dojima is all about. So I'd like to ask Junaid, what is the core mission that drives for the project, the development of Dojima, and how does it align with the broader goals of the Web3 ecosystem?
That's a very interesting question, Amity. But the thing is, it's not a very short answer. I hope we all have the time for this. Let's look at it this way.
Sure.
Human evolution has taken centuries and decades and whatnot, but in the last 100 years, we have seen technology develop so fast. Like I personally, I'm of a certain age where I remember having a 4-digit phone number in my house. That also we had to call an operator and they would connect us. Mobiles were non-existent; they were just Star Trek fantasies. That okay, we would have a communicator in our pocket and GPS systems and whatnot. So let's just rewind a little bit and go back to Native Americans using smoke signals to communicate because it is human nature to communicate, whether we use language or other means. They use smoke signals. Moving forward, we have around 1890, the turn of the century, around 1890, we had a lot of technological developments where people were trying to bridge the gap of communication between different countries, different languages, different borders. During the turn of the century, we had a gentleman called Mr. Morse who came out of the unified code, and that made so much of a difference. That code is used till today. Morse code is known by everyone. That became like an omni-layer, omni-chain protocol for everyone, where people use no matter what medium. We call them chains now in the Web3 ecosystem, but people could use light signals, smoke signals, electromagnetic pulses. They could use radio frequencies, but as long as they use Morse code, they knew who was talking and what they're talking about. Moving forward, around 1990s, we had something called the evolution of the internet, where initially it was used by, let's say, the American military, who utilized the internet as we know it today was very different back then. They used it to communicate with each other about strategic locations and certain tactical requirements that they had, and even banks were using it to expedite their settlement process to make sure that things are working much easier rather than having a check reach from point A to point B for it to be cleared. It would just do it electronically. And in 1995, approximately, there was a deregulation in the industry which made the World Wide Web come into existence as we know it today. We all use it. Similarly, the next phase of evolution would be the Web3 ecosystem, as we know it. That is from Web2 to Web3. And what we are doing at Dojima is something beautiful. We have got an omni-chain layer in place, which will help all the chains talk to each other seamlessly, and that is something which we are very proud of. Let's see how it goes in the near future. It's not like we are reinventing the wheel. It's just that we are adding a lot more functionality to the wheel.
Yeah, sure. So just just one more question. So how many chains like have you guys integrated, and how many chains are you guys looking at? You mentioned EVM compatible chains. Are you looking at other chains here, or it's just EVM compatible chains?
Well, EVM and non-EVM chains, the most awesome thing about Dojima would be that we help EVM chains talk to EVM chains with assets and data. Yes, we also make EVM chains speak to non-EVM chains and non-EVM to non-EVM as well. So there are three parts to that puzzle that we have like almost solved. And the good part is that it's not limited to the number of chains. Sky is the limit. It depends on liquidity and requirement by the user base. At this point of time, we have around 10 that we are supporting. We are going to 14 in the next couple of days. And as and when the liquidity and the requirement increases, as I said, sky is the limit. We can integrate all of them if required, depending on liquidity, of course, because it has to have a certain amount of users on board to make it viable for us to put in that effort to make sure that it works well. But yes, we can do it all.
Yeah, sure, cool. I look forward to see you guys, achieving this and making it landscape, making it on a global landscape where every chain can actually be integrated from the EVM to the non-EVM, EVM to EVM, and whatnot. Such a wonderful response. So, I'd like to, it's the Web3 space, and we've got competitions here and there. In the competitive landscape, what unique strengths does Dojima possess, and that distinguish it from other projects with similar objectives?
Hey, you're giving me curveballs here. Let's talk about this a little bit more in detail. So one of our core strengths is our team. People make the place. Similarly, our team is what is the driving engine behind the supercar, which is Dojima. We together have been working relentlessly. We have people in our team who have been living, eating, breathing, sleeping Dojima since the moment they wake up till the moment they go to sleep. And we have been at it relentlessly for the past year, a little bit more than a year actually, and well, we like to take it in a very structured approach rather than hurrying things across. We go through on how the industry is evolving, what changes other chains are making, what changes are being done in the space, what evolution is happening, and we try to quickly adapt to those before we put anything out there in the industry. So I would say that our team is the core strength, is the driving force of Dojima itself. And I'm just quoting myself once again. People make the place. Similarly, our team is what makes Dojima what it is. And
Yeah.
looking at competition. Well, I said earlier as well. We are not reinventing the wheel. The wheel has already been invented. There are other players in the industry who are working on a multi-chain setup. Yes, they're doing it very well, and we don't consider them competition. We take inspiration from our peers in such a manner that yes, they're doing it. How can we do it better? We are standing on the shoulders of giants indeed, and aren't we all effectively? Um, we look at it in such a manner that we are improvising in such a manner where it can help the overall ecosystem evolve over time and be a more fruitful effort and endeavor for all developers and final end users when it comes to the user experience of things, so that it can be achieved in a much faster way. Whatever the users and the developers are trying to achieve might take them 7 iterations to do so, but if they're working alongside us, we can help them do it in 1 or 2.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Great idea you guys have got there. I like the fact you said you don't see it as a competition. You see it from a place of innovation where you can actually get more ideas or inspiration from what other projects are actually building out there. And incorporate it into what Dojima is actually trying to do. And it's actually a very good one because the Web3 space as a whole. We're looking at onboarding users from the Web2 space and into the Web3 ecosystem as a whole. It's actually one where we need to work together. Where project needs to draw inspirations from each other, and check what is and what not there is so to do, and make things actually very very cool for the new users, especially the user experience, giving them a very very cool one. So thank you very much for that. And also you mentioned team. One thing with a good project, every good project out there is actually the team. And I agree with you, Janet. Thank you very very much for such a wonderful response. So last year we had the bear runs. The bear took over. Hopefully we're currently seeing the bull run. I don't know about you though, but I'm actually hoping probably after the April halving we get to see the bull runs and what have you. So reflecting on your journey in the previous year, could you share some notable achievements thus far, and what pivotal plans do you have in store for this year?
Definitely, definitely. Just to add on to what you said a little bit earlier about the bear run and the bull run, it's a law of nature. What goes down has to come up. What goes up has to come down. So it's going to be up and down throughout. But there's another very interesting way of putting it that if you're going through hell, keep going. You get through it eventually. So similarly, when people say, "Oh, it's the bear run," and people don't make things, we kept on building silently. That's what we've been doing for the entire past year. We've just been building and building and building. And in the last year, we have seen a numerous amount of partnerships. We have seen a lot of user engagement. We've been doing a lot of events. We have developed our backend to be extremely robust to be able to handle any amount of deployments on there, including smart contracts and the dApps as well. We have launched our wallet. We are looking at the near future. I'm not giving you a date here, but we are looking at the near future where our mainnet is going to go live. And we will be having something called the developer dashboard as well, which will make it very easy for developers to pick and choose which chain they want to deploy on. And anyway, if they deploy on the Dojima chain, they can pick and choose any chain that they deploy on anyway. So it becomes as easy as a point and click, effectively speaking. Of course, they will have to deploy their contract on there, but it's not complicated. We have made the user experience fantastically simple. And well, that's what we're looking at doing in this coming year in 2024. It's going to be a rocking year. Let's hope the bull run comes into play. But if it doesn't matter. As long as the ecosystem benefits from it in the long run, that is what we are looking at.
Yeah, sure, exactly. I think one of the major thing or good thing the bear market brought was the fact that each project out there had time to reflect, on their product. We had time to, build partnerships. We had time to,
Oh,
like you
yeah.
mentioned, you said at the back end, you made it more robust, and it's actually a good one. I mean, the bear was a good one in disguise. So it's, yeah, cool.
I
And
agree with you.
I truly hope. Sure, 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 sure.
Yeah.
You're saying something?
No, I agree with you. That's right. Please carry on.
Oh, all right. Yeah, sure, sure. So like you mentioned, either or no, we have the bull run or not. It's I think it's what favors the Web3 ecosystem as a whole. That should definitely play out, and that's what we're looking at. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. You guys have an amazing, you've had an amazing 2023, and I truly hope both Plena and Dojima will have a very very wonderful 2024, and that every user and all our users and our community would actually benefit from it, and the Web3 ecosystem as a whole. So guys, if you're just joining us, it's our first Twitter Spaces for the year, and welcome to another episode of Plena Connect and Web3 UX with friends. And this is the 25th episode, and we've got a wonderful guest here, Junaid, who is the head of marketing at Dojima. It has been an amazing, amazing session with him so far. I've learned a lot from him, and I believe our community, you guys have learned a lot from him so far in the spaces. So I'd like you guys to do one thing for me. I'd like you guys to go on their Twitter handle. I'd like you guys to follow them. I'd like you guys to join their Telegram channel and their Discord channel, if any. I'd like you guys to check out the cool things they're developing. And I'm very, very sure, these guys are building magnificent things. And I'd like you guys to check it out. So, Junad, back to you. I see what you guys are doing as, as probably account abstraction. You're trying to make life easier for the Web3 users that we're onboarding from Web2. Because I mean, not everyone actually has this technical knowledge about what the Web3 is all about. So I see what you guys are doing as a great one. We're also doing this at Plena, where we're onboarding the next billion users from Web 2 to Web 3, and we're making life, easier for them. And, why creating a wallet on our Plena Super app. It is quite easy. You can actually log in via your Google email, and what have you. And also, while you're performing, transactions, you could actually pay your gas fee in any token. You don't have to worry. You don't have to swap to this token. You don't have to swap to that token. Account abstraction playing a whole lot of role here in technology, probably in Web3, as a whole. So I'd like to get your own concept on account abstraction. It is a crucial concept in the Web3 space. How does your project view the significance of account abstraction, and in what ways is it integrated in your project?
So, well, account abstraction is a concept for the EVM chains, and it is being integrated because we have built our product on Ethereum value machine as well. So it is pretty strongly integrated in there. And let's look at it this way: when you look at traditional money is not actually something that you own. It's a promissory note that is given to you that you promise to pay the bearer so and so amount. Similarly, when you're looking at account abstraction, it's just the tokens that a person holds rather than owns the smart contract. So it's like looking at having paper currency versus owning the mint. So that does play a very crucial role when it comes to a decentralized exchange or any kind of financial transaction that's happening. And when you're trying to pay gas fees in different tokens, it can be a little bit of a drag at times. But we completely understand the concept and appreciate it as well, where it should be fluid. A value of any token is irrelevant unless and until it is utilized in the right direction. So if it is paying a gas fee or making a transaction, it should be seamless and accepted across the board, which is a fantastic thing that Plena is also doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for such a timely response, Janet. So the Web3 technologies, down to the blockchain, it comes with higher learning, course for users. I believe we just got all 11 spots Bitcoin ETF approved by SEC, and I believe most users out there don't even know what the spot ETF is all about. Most people don't even know the complexity of how the blockchain actually works, and how we should go about it. How do you think we can bridge the gap between the complexity of these technologies and the user-friendly experience, especially for mainstream adoption of users from Web 2 to Web 3?
Well, people in the Web2 space do have a traditional understanding of things, and it's always nice to correlate with existing technologies and explain the new ones going forth. Like a similar example that I'd given about owning a mint versus holding a paper currency for deployment of smart contracts versus tokens. So when you're looking at ETFs, the best way to educate a person in the Web2 space with regard to the financial aspect of the Web3 ecosystem would be to speak about the share market, where you have equity traded funds. Similarly, you have exchange traded funds over here as well, which are very interesting to utilize. And when it comes to adoption of Web3 technologies, the learning curve, as you said, yes, it is pretty steep in the blockchain infrastructure side of things. But once you look at it, it's pretty simple. It's just an introduction that is required before anybody who has, worked on the back end of technology, anything at all, would be an easy adoption for them as long as they're introduced to it in the right manner. And there are multiple resources out there, multiple resources available in the form of documentation on each and every chain, including ours as well on our back end, where people can go and have a little study and understand what the whole concept is, what it is about. And it has been segregated in a very interesting manner, where it depends on what level of learner you are. Are you a beginner? Are you an advanced user? And the course itself, the documentation as well, is like a course that takes you through the entire space, and the ease of deployment, the ease of making something interesting, something wonderful and valuable, which will contribute to the Web3 ecosystem in the long run.
Yeah, sure. I agree with you. I think the right one thing you mentioned of importance there is the right approach with which we present things to the Web2 users. Most people coming from traditional finance to decentralized finance don't actually grab the whole terms of things like, you say, FOMOing, you say ETF, you say this, but when you relate things with them, based on, say, like the stock exchange, you use terms which they are very very much familiar with, and you simplify these things to them, it would actually make the adoption of Web3 very, very, very much high. So thank you very much
Pleasure.
for that. I believe our community, listeners are actually taking notes, and I've actually learned a lot from these spaces. So Junaid, I'd like to ask again, with the Web3 UX space evolving, yeah, like you mentioned earlier, we tend to evolve. You cited an example using the payphone. I mean, back yeah in my country back then, that's the way we do. We contact the providers then links us down to whoever we're trying to call, and thank God for technology and what have you. So with the space evolving, the Web3 UX space evolving, what trends do you anticipate, and how should projects prepare for and adapt for these changes? I, for one, I am anticipating the use of AI very, very, very much, and I think we at Plena, we have what we call the Plena GPT, and it's a cool feature that we intend to optimize into the Plena Super App, and I truly hope Plena would give us a brief um a brief talk on the Plena GPT even as the space goes on. So, but for now, what uh trend do you think, and what trend do you anticipate rather, and how should we prepare for and adapt for these changes?
Yeah, so with regard to how you mentioned AI being one of the key players in the industry, that is something which is very, very apt, to be honest. When you're looking at the evolution of the user experience, well, many people say that AI is going to take over the world. Well, it's not. It's the people who know how to use AI are the ones who are the successful people tomorrow. Today, it's the people with the knowledge skills. AI has put together all of that together and is going to give you a much better solution to increase your efficiency. So something that I would be taking an entire day to do, I can use AI to do it in a matter of say less than an hour. Yeah, but depends on how I put it in. That will come out. There's a very old concept of garbage in, garbage out. It was told to me by an old car salesman. I asked him, "What if I put normal grade fuel into this car?" They were like, "You put garbage in, you get garbage out," and that stuck with me. Like depends on how AI is utilized. The user experience will be much better as well. And going forward in the Web3 ecosystem, look at how the Web2 ecosystem evolved. It evolved pretty well, I would say. And I think it's reached a point where it's at a saturation point. And once that curve goes downward, things are going to look a little different. And in my perspective, and this is a personal opinion over here, that the Web3 ecosystem with a nice injection of AI coming into it can help a lot of things work much faster, and it can be a very good experience for the users as well. So looking at augmented user experiences in the near future, like how you have targeted advertisers for people, what we envision is that there could be augmented utilization of AI. Suppose you have gone online from a different geography altogether. Your experience will be different. Depends on the kind of age that you are at, the location that you are at, the kind of portfolio that you command. Your user experience on a particular website should be very different from the one that I experience because it will not be relevant to me otherwise, or it will not be relevant to you otherwise. Does that kind of make sense? And AI should be able to do that for the UX, to be able to change it as per the user in the near future. Suppose if I'm a person who is not holding any kind of tokens, but I'm only into gaming and I only utilize tokens for gaming. The UX of a particular site that I visit, or a dApp that I go have, or a dApp that I utilize, should be customized for the kind of user that I am, depending on the data that it has gathered on my usability and my user habits. If you, for example, are somebody who has got a very strong portfolio, who's into decentralized finance, the same dApp should be able to give you those options to be able to make your experience much more seamless, and that can be achieved through AI and the kind of data that it acquires and spits back at you. That is something which could be the near future of the Web3 UX.
So we were actually intending to build a Plena GPT a year back as well, and then what we've done is Plena GPT is basically an advanced AI model designed to streamline the crypto markets experience, especially for the Plena users. So what we're building is, it aims specifically to simplify the complex world that we actually are in, especially in the DeFi space. By offering personalized suggestions, suggesting management strategies, providing some trend predictions. Plan GPT, is trying to empower the users to make more well-informed decisions, in the rapidly evolving and dynamic crypto industry. So I think I'm super excited to give some more alpha on this, but somehow for some, I think it'll be for another call. Amity, we can go ahead with the next question, because I think if I share more, I mean, I have a lot to share on Planet GPT, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to as of now. Still, yeah. So,
That will be fantastic information, and the listeners can get some good learning as well from there.
absolutely, I think we could schedule another call specifically on Planet GPT, because I have so much to speak about, AI and plus Planner portfolios and what we're doing with account abstraction and combination of both. It's an exciting space to be in. But yeah, that's, I think, for another day.
It'll be interesting. That'll be really interesting.
Absolutely. So just one more question for me. It has been an amazing space with you, Junaid. Thank you very much, for tuning in. So I'd just wrap it up with this question. Improving, the UX is essential, that. And can you share any user research, or feedback gathering methods employed by Dojima to enhance the overall user experience of your Web3 application?
Sure thing. I think I just mentioned that in the previous question itself, that AI is something that can be utilized to gather the kind of data that each user has over time and give them a very personalized experience. That is something which would be very essential for the user experience and return. Well, let's put it this way, as returning users to that particular portal or site. Plena is doing some very good work in there. From what I understand, the AI model that they're building is going to be fantastic, and we really look forward to hearing about it as well. When you're looking at the kind of research that we do independently, is we surely take a look at what users are looking at this point of time. As I said, we don't look at others as competition. We look at inspiration. Ultimately, what we are looking at is improving the entire ecosystem altogether and playing our part and paying it forward, so to speak. So whenever we are looking at a user experience model, it's not as simple as okay, this is a user journey predefined from our end. It doesn't work that way. It's more about giving the user everything that they would require on a platter. Hence, we are coming out with something called a developer dashboard, which is in the near future, which nobody else is doing at this point of time. What that will enable people to do is to make sure that they can pick and choose and point and click on whatever they want, and it can be done much faster and much simpler way than what it is done in traditional methods in the Web3 ecosystem, about deploying a smart contract and making sure that the contracts are burned and minted on the other side and so on and so forth. It happens very seamlessly. So that's one thing that we are doing, but I'm really looking forward to listening to what Plena has to say about this. That'll be a very interesting conversation.
Actually, that's very very cool, and you guys are building right there, and I must say I truly look forward, to actually seeing that in the near future, and actually see more collaborations between Plena and Dojima in the near future, and hopefully another space some other time rather, and we actually get to discuss more of the Plena portfolio and the Plena GPT and your you said eBAD, right? Or what did you did I get it correct?
I'm sorry?
You said eBAD. What you guys are trying to create in the near future?
It's a developer dashboard.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So an e-dashboard and you get it right. So and what have you. So thank you very very much for tuning in. Janet, thank you very much for staying to the end of the spaces. I've actually learned a lot, and I believe our community listeners have learned a lot. Guys, I'd like you to still do one thing for me. If you haven't done that already, I'd like you to go follow them on Twitter. I'd like you to check out their website. I'm currently on their website now. It's a very very cool one. They've got a very good user interface. and easy to navigate. So you guys should check it out. I'd like you guys to join their Telegram channel, and I'd like you guys to join their Discord channel. If they've got one. So guys, this is the end of the space. Thank you guys for tuning into episode 25 of Plena Connect and Web3 UX with Friends. Yeah, it has been an amazing session so far. Thank you, Plena, for hosting us. And thank you, Janet, for tuning in. Thank you very much, community listeners. See you guys some other time.
Thank you so much once again, guys. Thank you, Plena. It's been wonderful, and once again, I'm really looking forward to listening to your conversation on AI later on.
Absolutely, Tinker. Let's plan another spaces soon. I think this month we can have you guys on board again, and we could specifically talk about AI plus account abstraction and user experience. Would be great to go down that rabbit hole. Thank you so much again, Janet. Hope to speak to you soon again.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Amity. Thank you, guys.